And our next guest, I believe, is lined up as well. We're going to bring her on if she'll have us. Captain Sandy of Below Deck. How you doing, Captain Sandy?
I'm doing well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
It's a real honor, a real treasure to have you here as part of Seattle Boat Show Connected. Captain Sandy, we just talked about marine trades and the next employment opportunities. There aren't a lot of female captains. Can you share some advice for any? I have a daughter. Any advice you would have for her as she thinks about her career?
You know, I say this often because of the show, I get a lot of messages from women and young adults as well. How can I get into this industry? That's the greatest thing about this TV show, is that it reaches so many people out there, especially in Middle America. Is how can I get in this industry? And I just say, go for it. Do not stop. Contrary to what everyone thinks, yes, it used to be a male dominated industry. It probably still is. However, I believe that the TV show has opened up the world for women on deck. I think a lot of people just give up. In fact, I went skiing and I was showing someone how to ski. And I said, if it was easy, everyone would do it. It's when you learn something new, it is hard, it is challenging. And it's when you persevere and you don't give up that it pays off. And that's anything in life. It is challenging, it is not easy. It's when you persevere and you don't give up that it pays off. And that's my advice. Do not give up. If you really, truly want this, don't give up and stay focused.
Well, Denise and I are both from Middle America as well. And how did you know that you wanted to spend your life on the water? Where did you get this call?
Honestly, it wasn't a dream of mine. I answered an ad in the paper because I was this lost kid. I always share this. And you can probably relate. If you take the pool of people that work in the yachting industry or the maritime sector, I think we stand out in the psychological pool where we're people that aren't the typical corporate America. We are edgy. We are always looking for the next chase, especially people who work on yachts. It is I can't describe it, but I believe that we're in a different bucket psychologically. And I didn't pursue it. It found me and I fell into it because I had to get a job. And when I found it, I was like, I feel like the maritime industry saved my life. And I'll never forget what Michael Moore said to me when he looked at my first contract. He said, the maritime industry has been good to him and his family, and that he helped captains and crew, and that he looked at my contract and he didn't, attorneys charge a lot of money, and he did me a favor, and that was his way of giving back. And that's how I feel about the industry for me, is that I want to help a lot of people because I fell into it to stay out of trouble, and it changed my life, and it's given me an incredible career. And I kept my head down and I did the work. And as a result of that, I became a captain because I worked really hard. I always share this. I'm not a Bravo. I'm Sandy, who has a career in the maritime industry, who happens to be on a TV show. And that's how I got into it. And the greatest part is that this TV show has reached so many people out there that can get a job. And as we all know, we're all aging out and we need new blood. And there's a lot of new blood out there that will work hard. And we need more people in this industry that's willing to work hard.
That's powerful. Captain Sandy, as a captain of a super yacht, I feel like you're the school principal, the psychologist, the chef. You have it all. You manage staff. What are some principles that you subscribe to when it comes to managing people? What works well and what doesn't work well?
I read your questions, and one of them was, what advice did I hear to give to my crew? And I'll never forget, I was I think it was in Italy, and I saw Herb Magnane. A lot of you know who he is. And I went in his crew mess, and he had this sign up and for his crew when they go out, and it said, don't add to the population and don't subtract from the population. And I just think it's so interesting because you get so many mixed nationalities. And I'm working on a book. I did a book proposal on leadership through storytelling. And as we all know, we come from all walks of life. A lot of us, hey, listen, I got kicked out of 11th grade. I didn't go to college, right? I was not that kid. I was a messed up kid. And like I said, I fell into the industry. And there's a lot of people like that. So it's the approach on how you approach these crew, different languages. And for me, it's the Herb Magnies of the world. And the approach is sometimes comical, sometimes stern. It's all about communication and how we communicate. And I always think about where they came from. How can I talk to them? How can I make a difference? It isn't, we're there to do a job, of course. We're there to provide a service for the owner. We're there to keep owners in their boats to stay employed, because without owners buying boats, we don't have jobs, right? We don't have shipyards making boats, and it's just that effect. And the common goal here is to have personnel to continue to keep this incredible industry thriving. And listen, we get to experience incredible places. As I was interviewing with all these publishers this week, I talked about, we get to travel the world, Shanghai, Dubai, Genoa, Barcelona, Seattle, like all over the world, to have these boat shows. And then for the first time, I experienced Washington, D.C. And to be able to take nationalities and talk about this and learn their parts of the world in a common denominator as a maritime industry, that's powerful. And to be the glue to grow the industry and the numbers that are attached to it, the dollar bills, and not just that, the education, that to me is powerful. Like how do I empower people? How do I encourage them? I just show up.
Well, you're referring to the American Boating Congress, and that's the trip to DC that we took a couple of years ago.
Especially people who work on
And
yachts.
that was a really powerful experience. Was that your first time to DC? Oh, I think we lost Captain Sandy. We're going to get her right back. But yeah, Captain Sandy's referring to the American Boating Congress, which happens every year, which is put on by our friends at NMMA.
Right.
So NMMA.org, they put together this incredible jam-packed fly-in. We meet with their legislators, we meet with our delegation, and Captain Sandy got to experience that. And that's just something that's got to be done, because if you're not at the table telling your story, someone else is. There she is. She's back.
Yeah, she's back.
Someone else is telling your story, and you may not like what they're saying. I was just bragging about the American Boating Congress, Captain Sandy. And was that your first time doing some formal lobbying?
Very first time. And I got to tell you, like, that just lit me up from the inside out. I bought a building in Jacksonville, and I have a lobbyist now, and I've, spent some time with a lobbyist, and I'm like, man, this is my calling. Like, I really feel I want to make a difference with my platform, and I really want to help. And that's, hey, listen, I'm 55. I had an incredible career, and I don't want to stop. And I just want to empower people and continue.
What you mentioned a whole bunch of, places all over the world that most of us only dream about going to. What's the single place, if you can choose one, that you just can't wait to go back to?
Well, if I may share, like, I've never been to the San Juan Islands, and I'd love to go there.
Oh,
I've never been to Seattle.
Come on, let's do it.
Nice. Nice
And another
answer.
one of your questions is, you talked about, I read your questions,
Were they
the
good
Med
questions?
versus
What'd
the
you
United
think?
States. I loved your questions. And, when I went to Bravo and I said, your sailing show, why not America? And one of their answers was they just didn't think that people would really like to see America. And I said, I disagree.
Oh, yeah.
Let me take you in a boat and show you New York City, because they're all in New York, from a vessel. When you drive into Ambrose Channel and you see New York City for the first time, and you have the Hudson or the East River, and continue down Long Island Sound, you could do the Mystic, or, East Hampton, or the Hamptons, over to Newport and to Nantucket, the Vineyard, and up the Cape Cod Canal. The United States is incredible. And the Great Loop. There's so many incredible places to go boating here. I love America. America has the most beautiful waterways. How lucky are we? If it's blowing a gale offshore, we can still go boating.
So what
You
did Bravo
can't do that
say?
in
What did Bravo
America.
say?
Yeah. They loved the idea, they loved it. They just couldn't find a big enough boat that would do it in America. So
I have a feeling that idea is not going to go anywhere, though. I'm glad that you
No.
planted that idea because we're kind of trapped in America
Right.
right now, given the pandemic. Like, I think there's so many nooks and crannies of our country, of the Pacific Northwest, waiting to be explored. So I love that. I didn't know that was maybe in the works. We
Yeah,
shall
because
see.
being on any waterway gives you a totally different perspective. On the Chicago River, I mean, that's the city I grew up in. And the first time I actually saw it from the river, it looks like a different city. It's amazing.
it's incredible. For the first time I was on the Chicago River. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, it felt like I was in Miami. I mean, going up to, the Miami River today, not what Miami used to be, but it was incredible. But what I loved was going through the lock. They're like the monitors. You got the lock monitor, right?
Right.
That guy's like, if you don't have your life jacket on, he's like, put your life jacket on. You
Yep.
can tell that's a 6-year boater.
Speaking of seeing the water from a boat, every year the Washington Maritime Federation and the Port of Seattle and Argosy put together this working waterfront tour. My friend Eric Fitch, who hopefully he's watching. Hi, Eric. We actually take lawmakers on an Argosy, kind of probably holds about 200 people, and we're able to tell the story, and their mouths are just wide open because they've never seen that side of the water,
Right.
and the fact that it's not just boats, but all the employment that goes in. The 28,000 people that are employed in our maritime industry, our $38 billion maritime industry. It's like an industry, oftentimes, sadly, hidden in plain sight. So that's the importance of going to D.C. and sharing that story. When you were talking to lawmakers, I've got to get back to this subject. When you were talking to lawmakers, were they kind of out to lunch on the importance of the maritime industry?
That was for me, right? So
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Were they just like kind of like not
I mean,
tracking?
I sat around that table, thanks to Kitty. Kitty was the reason I showed up there. Kitty's the reason I'm here today. And it's people like her that keep me coming back, because it's those people that keep showing up. And yes, I've never experienced that before. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I've always been at sea. So now, because of the show, which I'm really grateful for because it's given me this platform, I'm ready to step into those shoes and start making a difference with my voice and my platform. So however I can do that, I don't know how to do it, but I'm willing to use my platform and my voice and learn. And I always say this to people. I have a brain, I can learn. I may not know the answer. And I learned this in the yacht world, that if an owner asks me a question, I'm going to go find out the answer because I can learn. And that's exactly how I feel about changing the laws. Some things that happen during filming, I'm sure whoever watches the show, everybody thinks I fired Hannah because she didn't register her Valium, or she had a pen, a pot pen, but that's not why. I let her go. I wasn't going to take her to sea because I didn't trust her, because the liability that's on my shoulders if something happens is far. I'm not taking that risk. I mean, I worked my entire career to get to where I am for some crew member that I can't rely on, and I would never take that risk. And so people don't understand that. And that's why I want to be able to use my voice and my platform to make a difference in these laws, because it does matter. It matters.
Captain Sandy, you're so open about a lot of subjects. One of them I've seen you write about is your sobriety. Was that hard to go public with your sobriety? Has that changed people's lives as well, to get some courage to maybe
Not
walk
at
away?
all. That wasn't hard for me. Everybody saw me drunk. Why? What's the problem with them seeing me sober? I was like a mess everywhere. For me, I have more fun sober. I can remember everything. I don't go, oh my God, what did I do last night? Did I drive home? Where'd that dent come from in my car? Do I owe anyone money? Those sort of things, it's kind of nice. And I don't have those hangovers anymore. And I actually have a lot more money in my bank account. So those are the great things. And yes, I help people, and a lot of crew, and I always say this because I've had crew, we've all been there, in jail. And I just say, look, you have two choices. you can either get it together or I fire you, because the liability again. And so many times I take risk with people because they're worth it. This one kid I fired 3 times and I hired him back because he's worthy. And I looked at him and I said, you might not think you're worth it, but I do. And I just kept investing in him until he got it. And today he's doing really well. And that for me is rewarding, because someone invested in me. It was an owner, actually, a yacht owner, and the maritime industry. So
Right.
I'm not going to give up.
Thank you for not giving up.
Right.
From the bottom of my heart. Captain Sandy, we've got a wheel here that we spin with guests, and it lands on a certain topic. We're going to ask you that question. I hope you can play along with us. So
You
we're
ready
spinning
for
the wheel
this?
right now.
I'm spinning for
All right,
you.
we've got book, luck, song, app, gem. Where's it going to land? Where's it going to land?
Let's see
Hopefully it
what's
lands on
gonna
song,
happen.
and you can sing us a sea shanty.
Yeah, we need a shanty.
And we
Where
are
are we
at.
going?
We are at. There
Ah,
it is. Luck.
that's a good one.
Oh, almost got the song. Captain Sandy, are you superstitious? And if so, what are your superstitions on the water?
Am I superstitious? I'm not. I have to say, I'm not.
So New Year's Day, you're not
I
doing
have
anything.
bananas on the boat.
Oh,
I
she
don't
has
care.
bananas on the
Oh,
boat. We found the
yes,
person.
bananas on the
We
boat.
found Pro Banana. Pro Banana, she boats.
I'm not superstitious.
What do you think of the banana thing then? If you don't care about bananas, where did that come from? Why do you think that's a big superstition?
I don't know. Something about fishing, I
Okay.
think.
Oh,
Yeah. Red Sea at night. I mean, I don't know. Those I pay attention to.
okay.
of
That
course,
was
but
on my list
Okay.
of superstitions,
Yes.
though. But maybe that's more of a truism.
I think that's a fact.
Okay.
I think it has a lot to do with the weather.
Okay,
Yeah.
There's-
that works for me. That sounds
The weather
believable,
is
yeah.
the weather. You got to respect it.
The snorkel and the mask.
There
I
we
like
are.
that.
Yeah, I think we've got Annie Crawley in the waiting room. Captain Sandy, thank you so much for being part of Seattle
Thank
Boat Show
you.
Connected, presented by Union Marine. It's a real honor to have you on here, and we just appreciate your time.
Hey,
Your
I'm all yours.
kitty is
Anytime
here.
I'm ready to walk in Washington, D.C. again, just let me know.
I will see you there, and I'd like to see you up in the San Juans as well.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Thanks,
That's Captain
Kitty.
Sandy.
See you later.